Here's a great thing about 21st century skills. One of them is adaptability. And when a teacher goes in a classroom with technology, a large percent of the time it doesn't work. So the question is, as a teacher, what do I do? My lesson plan is going down fast, okay? And I look real bad in front of 30 students. Me, it's 200 people. So, you figure out, you adapt, you move on, and you actually teach the kids a great lesson by not panicking and saying, okay, it's okay. Because my next slide, if we go back to the PowerPoint, oh, I missed. When I framed the question on the PowerPoint, it actually has a beautiful picture of a little girl who's getting ready to go into kindergarten. Is this a compilation of, I've done this activity probably about 12 times. You're the first time I've done it with a parent group. So I was hoping to get the data and see what it really, if it was any different than what happens when I do this with teachers and administrators. And I didn't expect it would be. But this is a compilation of all the data of all the times I've done this, and this is what's called a word. It's a word cloud. And the bigger the word, the more frequently that word comes out. And almost every time, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, flexibility, adaptability come out as the large words. And some of the small words are literacy, technology skills, information literacy. So I sum it up as what the Partnership of 21st Century Skills calls the 4 C's as the top ones. I guess I started the timer again. Collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. And those are the big 4 that most people say are 4 of the most important things, the 4 most important skills that we can teach our students to be able to go into the workforce and go into college with. So the question for the schools and educators and parents and communities is how can we purposefully and intentionally build these skills in our students? When you were in school, did your teachers purposefully and intentionally work on your communication skills? Did you get a grade on how well you communicated? Did you get a grade on how well you critically thought? Did you get a grade on how creative you were outside of the arts? And that's what the American society stands on, how creative we are, how innovative we are. And that's what we have to make sure we can continue to stand on, but now we have to do it in a way that's competing with other countries that are trying to be like us. As much time as we as educators in the U.S. spend going and looking at Asian schools, they're doing the same thing. Singapore actually came here and they're trying to model their creativity and innovation in their schools on how it's done in the U.S. schools. And they've taken it another step. How is this school doing it? In a little while, you're going to walk out and you're going to see some exhibits. You're going to see a distance learning, and if it works, you're going to see a dog sled race. Is it?
Yes, in Alaska tonight.
In Alaska tonight. Not videotaped, it's going to be live. Think about the things that we can show our kids live and interact. I don't know if it's set up that way, but we can interact with the people in Alaska live. That is communication. That is a little bit of modern collaboration. The teachers here are studying essential questions, and I try to avoid edge-speak, but essential questions are big ideas that all the curriculum gets taught through. You have to critically think as a child to be able to answer these big questions, and you can't critically think without learning the content to critically think about it. So it's starting, and it's going to take a while to get it down to where we are doing this purposefully and intentionally as our goal. Time-wise, I'm going to skip that one. So, what are the steps that we take to intentionally build these skills in our students? I spent the last 2 days with the State Department and some other schools, and for 2 days as educators, we talked about if you could dream big, if there were no rules, there were no state tests, there were no limits to the walls of your building, what would education be? And for 2 days, that's what we talked about. And one of the presenters at this conference I was at made this statement. And this is something that is kind of scary. This is the challenge that I give parents, is we have to allow our students, our schools, our school districts to fail. And by fail, I don't mean get F's on report cards. I mean, think about your best learning experiences in life. They come from your failures. And the reflections that you have about those failures and how you step up to make that failure your next success. But as we fail, this person said, we have to fail fast and fail forward. And what he was saying is, we don't have a lot of time to spend one full year on one failure, because we have to quickly fail at doing something, learn from it, and move forward and build on that so it's a positive learning experience. And we have to allow the schools to do that, because right now, the school system structure is not set up. If there's failure, we as teachers, as administrators, have a system set up to be punitive to failure. We have to ask hard questions. Ask your schools the hard questions. How is this happening? Change happens through uncomfortable conversations. And this quote comes from a gentleman in the video named Chris Lehman. He's probably one of the best educators in our country. He's principal of a school in Philadelphia. Inner city Philadelphia, public school, he puts 100% of his kids in college. Whereas the district puts probably 10 to 20% as a whole. And he made this statement, inquiry is great for our students and us. So we need to dig deep. What does this look like as parents? How can we help our students dig deeper into this? As teachers, we have to be inquirers to model for our students, and our students will become that. And this is another one from Chris Lehman, is how do we dream? Education is going to change. I study education is what I do, and that's why I am in the position I'm in. That's pretty much, if you want to know something about an educational trend, I've read about it and developed an opinion of it. And the one thing that Chris Lehman said is, it's not about how we fix education, it's how we dream about what it should be, and we do that. Now, we continue the conversation, we talk with other parents, we talk with the teachers, we become involved in everything, and I guarantee this is as involved as the community that I work in, and it's still not enough. We need to be more active because we need more partners, because teachers alone cannot do what's needed for our children today. And we need to be a learner. And when you think about that as educated audience, I read, I learn, but how often do you talk to your kids about what you're learning? How often do you model what you're learning for the kids? As a teacher, it is scary to show myself as a learner to a kid, because that means I have to admit that I don't know something. So if I'm on stage in front of my 30 kids and I don't know something, to bring a kid up and say, hey, can you help me with this, is scary. We have an 8th grader behind the stage, and he knows as much about what's going on the technology side of this as I do. I wouldn't hesitate to ask him a question right now, because I have learned to be transformed. That our students have the ability to teach us as well as we have to teach them. And this is the part that I love about being here, is what I saw going on outside and back here with Gabe, our student assistant. is the kids are empowered here tonight. The kids are part of the presentations. They're involved. We have to continue to do that. Our kids have more ability than we have any clue about. They are amazing. And we have to make sure that we put them in situations, in school, at home, everywhere they are, that they're so engaged that they're empowered to be the leaders. And when we have conversations, at this conference there were 4 kids in the State Department Superintendent of Schools, left her office downtown, came to this event, and she closed the event interviewing these 4 students. And that was more powerful than anything that we learned in the rest of the event, because the students had their voice, and their voice resonated with us as educators. One of the questions that I wanted to answer a little bit is, how will schools be different? The brick and mortar someday will be gone. How many of you have older kids in college or have recently been in college? Okay. How many of you attended brick and mortar 100% of the time, or they attended brick and mortar 100% of the time? Okay. That trend is quickly disappearing. The reason why is technology. So the future of schools will have technology that